There have been drugs that have had bad side effects. When you get into gene editing, you get very strong negative reactions to it being used like that. The idea that somebody would take biological tools and create a weapon, that is very scary. That is very scary. That is very scary.
The first thing that happened was the arrival of a gene editing tool known as CRISPR in 2012. Many of you have probably heard about CRISPR, so I'll just say briefly that CRISPR is a tool that allows researchers to edit genes very precisely and easily and quickly. It does this by harnessing a mechanism that already existed in bacteria. Basically, there's a protein that acts like a scissors and cuts the DNA, and there's an RNA molecule that directs the scissors to any point on the genome you want. The result is basically a word processor for genes. You can take an entire gene out, put one in, or even edit just a single letter within a gene.
Excuse me, on the left over here, we have individuals who are religious fundamentalists, religious fanatics, and this is the expression, RT-PCR, real-time PCR expression of the Vmat2 gene. Over here, we have individuals. So let me complete. So over here, we have individuals who are not particularly fundamentalists, not particularly religious, and you can see there's a much reduced expression of this particular gene, the Vmat2 gene. Another evidence that supports our hypothesis for the development of this approach.
What you see here is by spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the Vmat2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. By vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. By vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. By vaccinating them, by vaccinating them, by vaccinating them.
A bill that would eliminate the religious exemption for vaccination required for schools in New Jersey in the spotlight tonight. With protesters gathering in Trenton on Thursday and protests planned for Monday, asking lawmakers to kill the measure. If it passes, parents would no longer be able to opt out of their vaccines for their children for religious reasons. Now going to exempt private schools. So that means people who can't afford to send their kids to private schools are going to be subjected to a mandate that the folks with money are not going to be. How's that fair?
What they're doing as usual is they give the rich and powerful options, and they take away these options from the poor because they know that the rich and powerful aren't going to stand for it.
Developing news, a vote to eliminate the religious exemption for childhood vaccines passed the Public Health Committee. You watch this news break live at 5 o'clock tonight. The committee voted to push the bill forward 14-11, and as soon as that vote was made, angry demonstrators confronted lawmakers. Our chief Capitol reporter Susan Raff was right in the middle of all of it. She's live now at the Legislative Office building where protesters have been all day long and making their presence certainly known, Susan.
By spreading this virus, we're going to eliminate individuals from donning on a bomb vest and going into a market and blowing up the market.
So our hypothesis is that these are fanatical people, that they have overexpression of the Vmat2 gene, and that by vaccinating them against this, we'll eliminate this behavior. So we have some very, very remarkable data in this next slide. Here we have two brain scans. These are fMRIs. These are two different individuals with different levels of expression of Vmat2. On top is an individual who's a religious fanatic, an individual, and we've repeated this numerous times, that has high levels of Vmat2. Now, this individual down here who had low levels of the Vmat2 gene, this individual would self-describe as not particularly religious. In each case, these individuals were read a religious text. This individual lit up the right middle frontal gyrus, shown here, and that's a part of the brain that's associated with theory of mind. It's a part of the brain that has to do with intents and beliefs and desires. In contrast, in marked contrast, here's an individual who would not particularly self-describe as religious, And when they're read a religious text, what you see is that this part of the brain called the anterior insula lights up. This is a part of the brain that's associated with disgust or displeasure on hearing something.
So you're suggesting I take a CT scan with me when I'm evaluating people to determine whether I put a bullet in their head?
The data that I'm presenting here supports the concept that we're proposing, and I think that we would not propose to do CT scans or fMRIs on individuals out in the hinterlands of Afghanistan. The virus would immunize against this Vmat2 gene, and that would have the effect that you see here, which is it's essentially to turn a fanatic into a normal person. And we think that will have major effects in the Middle East.
How would you suggest that this is going to be dispersed? Aerosol?
Well, so the present plan and the tests that we've done so far have used respiratory viruses, such as flu or rhinoviruses, and we believe that that's a satisfactory way to get the exposure of the largest part of the population.
Okay, so where does this leave us? We now have the ability to change entire species at will. Should we? Are we gods now? Are we gods now? Are we gods now?